And when I was looking up showtimes, when I was looking up showtimes, I accidentally clicked on the reviews tab and saw that it had 8% on Rotten Tomatoes and 5.2% on, 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb. So I did not go see that movie because it sounded terrible, and based on everyone else's reviews on it, I dodged a bullet. Not going to watch that movie. It sounds like a confusing, miserable waste of time, and all of the ways that it was described by top-voted tags were boring, slow, confusing, overhyped, cringeworthy, forgettable, plot holes, overrated, illogical, and bad acting. So I did what any millennial would do, and I asked the Google if there were any other horror films in theaters near me that I had not seen yet, because I had already seen a few since it was Halloween and I got Movie Pass for October. And The Killing of a Sacred Deer came up. It's now at 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, but when I decided to see the film, it was at 80%, and it's still at 8 out of 10 on IMDb. The top voted tags for this film were unsettling, intense, disturbing, dark, thought-provoking, tense, haunting, gripping, suspenseful, and strong acting. Now, I'll give you guys a chance to take a look at the trailer. It's a little over a minute, and then we'll come back and talk about the movie after that. So, here we go.
Good afternoon, you must be Martin.
That's right. You must be Anna.
That's right.
I brought you some little gifts.
That's very kind of you.
It's a keyring with a musical note on it for Kim, because I know she likes music.
What a charming boy. How long have you known him?
Quite some time. His father was a patient of mine.
I wanted to say one more thing. I'm really sorry about Bob.
It's nothing serious.
No, it is. They will all get sick and die. Bob will die, Kim will die, your wife will die. Understand?
No, I don't.
My mom's attracted to you. She's got a great body.
He's got issues, serious psychological issues.
Dad! Bob's dying!
You do realize, Stephen, we're in this situation because of you.
Okay, so now that we have seen the trailer to this film, you can see how this film was marketed. Again, I didn't actually see a trailer going into this film. The only expectations I had were that it came up when I searched horror movie and that it was good based on all of the reviews that people had posted and all of the reviews that websites had for it. So I went into this film expecting that I would like it. And based on the previews, if I hadn't seen the film, I would expect to like this film. Because the previews do paint an unsettling, disturbing, interesting movie with a lot of weird questions and twisty turns. But ultimately what you get is a pretty standard Sophie's Choice type story with a revenge plot, mysterious supernatural meddling of some kind that's never explained, and some attempts at being creepy that are mostly just uncomfortable, but not in a deep way, just in a kind of, oh, I don't know why any human being would say that ever kind of way. And I know this was deliberate, but the deadpan acting, and again, I know this is the director's style. I know that Yorgos Lanthimos has done this before. I personally have not seen his other works, but I understand that it is a deliberate stylistic choice. That being said, I fucking hated it. I think if you had maybe done just one of the characters like that, it would have been unsettling and creepy. It would have been interesting to do just the father and Martin like that. The father, Stephen Murphy, he was played by Colin Farrell. That would have been really interesting, but the problem is this deadpan acting extended to everyone, and this is a movie where at its core, the entire decision revolves around all of these four characters. I have to care about them if we actually are going to make this story have any kind of impact. And that's the problem. It settles on this deadpan tone that makes these characters much more difficult for me to seriously relate to. The way that this movie communicates its plot is beautifully done. The cinematography is amazing. the set design and the location choices create this incredible stark reality that's very interesting. And the way they play really sharp string music tones over really mundane scenes like walking down a hallway or sitting in a hospital room waiting quietly by a bed, that's interesting. That adds a little bit of a jarring effect to otherwise mundane scenes. The problem is when you do it over and over and over and over until it loses all meaning, it just fails to make a boring scene interesting. This movie is incredibly self-indulgent. There are a lot of long scenes that go on too long. There are a lot of awkward, deliberately stilted conversations. And again, the problem with that is while I understand that you're creating a style, it makes it hard for me to give a shit about these characters. There was kind of an element of dark comedy to this that I did like, which was just a few throwaway lines here and there. There was this great bit where the surgeon, the main character who's a surgeon, says that an anesthesiologist can kill a patient, but a surgeon never can. And then later there's a scene where the anesthesiologist is like, well, a surgeon can kill a patient, but an anesthesiologist never can, which of course is bullshit. Both of them can kill patients, and do, frequently, and he had a drinking problem. So the problem is this character is like legitimately kind of an asshole and a shitty doctor, because he used to drink on the job. I don't know if he still drinks on the job, but, you know, clearly it costs some people their lives. And the other I don't like anyone in this movie, and it would be one thing if maybe it was more of like a build-up where I cared about the family and I really cared about the characters and I could feel like the love and like happiness in this family and then watch it deteriorate. Maybe then I could feel a little bit more emotion by the end of the movie. But like the first dinner scene where we're introduced to this family and we're supposed to care about them and see them as being more cohesive and more happy, it's like the fucking dinner scene at the beginning of American Beauty, where it's awkward and stilted and clearly everyone's disconnected from each other. And on some level I know that was the point, but at the same time it's stupid to make that the point when your entire movie hinges on a decision between these fucking characters. I predicted the end of the movie from pretty much as soon as I realized what was going to happen. Immediately knew who it was going to be that they kicked off at the end. I was not remotely surprised or blindsided or stunned like so many people said they were by the ending. I found it very predictable, to be honest. And again, it's just a retread of like a Sophie's Choice kind of plot, except for this guy did something to bring it upon himself. There's a lot of things in this movie that worked. Like I said, the cinematography and the look of this film is beautiful. The actors, with how they were directed, they really did do a good job. I liked Colin Farrell as Stephen Murphy. I liked Nicole Kidman as Anna Murphy. I liked Sonny Soljic as Bob and Raffi Cassidy as Kim. And Barry Kogar, I don't know how to say his last name, as Martin. But ultimately, I didn't find their characters compelling. I felt like they all did a good job in acting exactly what the director wanted them to. I can see that the director like fully realized his vision in this movie. I just didn't fucking like his vision. It just bothered me. I hated this movie. I honestly thought about getting up to leave like 3 times because the boring, deadpan delivery just goes on and on and on, and it almost undermines some scenes where things would be a lot creepier because I don't feel the fear any of these characters are feeling. I don't feel any kind of anxiousness or anxiety. I don't feel any tension because everyone seems like they're bored with their life or death fucking plot. They just seem like they're bored. So this is kind of an art house film. It's a little bit avant-garde. It's got very deliberate, unique stylistic tones. Obviously, a fuck ton of people loved this movie. They thought it was brilliant. They thought the satire was great. They thought it was a fantastic horror film. Personally, I didn't find it particularly successful as a psychological horror. I didn't find it all that successful as a dark comedy. I didn't really enjoy it as an art film in terms of getting anything from it that would have made me actually want to sit down and watch this movie. If I could take back those 2 hours of my life that I spent watching this movie, I probably would. I really didn't like this movie. I guess if you like art house films or if you've seen his previous work and enjoyed it, go watch this film. Other people really seem to like it, and if you like something that I can't, you know, I'm not judging you. I'm just frustrated that I seem to be the only one who hates this movie. You know, I didn't just dislike this movie. I actively did hate most of this movie. There were things that were good about it, but I just felt like it wasted so much of my time. Oh, and also, Martin gives the girl, Kim, this keychain, and he says it's a music note. It's not. It's a treble clef. I don't know why, but that annoyed me so much because this is a movie so focused on details. Unless the point was that everything in this movie is ever so slightly wrong. Also, there's a lot of really weird conversations that border on, like, child sex abuse in this movie, to be completely honest. It's a really weird film, and it makes you uncomfortable, but not in a, whoa, that really makes you think kind of way, but more in a, oh, why did you say that kind of way. Again, if you liked this film, tell me why and what I am missing in the comments down below. If you didn't like this film, let me know why. You're on my side. If you like my videos in general, like and subscribe. If you don't, I am sure you'll tell me. That's everything I have for you. Wiedersehen.